Man's best friend. Pets. Friends. It's hard to accept living without your pet and the enjoyment received from their companionship. Dogs are also used to provide a degree of protection for your home. A barking dog will frighten most intruders. Dogs are here to stay, but that's not what we're going to discuss today. We'll take a look at the other side of dogs. To meter readers, mail carriers, animal control, and delivery persons, dogs are a threat to their safety. The more experienced you are, the more you'll come to respect the hazards of dog bites. Pit bulls seem to have grabbed the headlines, but those of you entering areas where dogs and pets are kept know pit bulls aren't the only hazard. In a recent national newspaper, dog bites were listed as the #1 work injury hazard. What can you do to protect yourself? You can't carry a gun, and wearing protective clothing really isn't an option. The best protection is knowing a little more about dogs, their habits, and some tips on emergency action. To a dog, you are an intruder. You're entering his turf, and he doesn't like it. Be observant. Look for signs of dogs living on the property. Dog toys, dog houses, a chain in the yard, and of course, the cute little dog itself. Never enter a yard without giving clues that you're entering. Call out, "Meter reader," or "Mail carrier." This gives the dog warning and gives you time to learn about the dog before he surprises you. Dogs are very protective of their territory. Watch for places where dogs may be hiding or resting, such as under bushes, basements, under cars, and so on. Learn and follow your organization's policies relating to preventive action. Making friends with dogs may or may not be a good idea. That's why it's important to know your work policies. Never bring goodies as a bribe. Many dogs are on special diets, and you could make the animal seriously ill, creating liability for your organization. Don't put trust in words from dog owners that, "Poopsie won't bite, she's a good dog." She may not bite the owners, but you can't read a dog's mind. Poopsie will probably nail you as you start to leave. Never turn your back on a dog. Be especially alert in yards with more than one dog. Dogs may get into a biting frenzy by playing with each other, or may be disturbed by your presence. Large dogs certainly may be more physically hazardous due to their size, but more people are bitten by smaller animals. You've all heard about the danger of pit bulls, German shepherds, and Dobermans, and it's true these breeds have been involved in serious and even fatal attacks. Be aware and prepared. Just because an animal happens to be a Doberman, shepherd, or pit bull, it doesn't mean it will attack. Dog personalities are determined by how they were raised. In the same vein, dogs known to be less aggressive should never be ignored. If you look in your local yellow pages, you'll see quite a few advertisements about dog trainers, dog psychologists, and psychiatrists. This tells you dogs have personality problems and may not have a stable personality. If you are ever bitten by an animal, be sure to get medical care immediately and report the incident to your supervisor right away. The Department of Animal Control should also be consulted to check any records necessary to determine if rabies testing is warranted. If you are bitten by a wild animal, rabies treatment may be necessary in event the animal cannot be found. Learn to distinguish what type of threat the dog is displaying. If the hackles or hair on the back of the spine and neck are raised, be very aware. This dog is aggressive. The tail also gives clues. If held high and waggled stiffly, this can be a sign of aggression. Fangs may or may not always be bared. A timid dog approaches with its tail between its legs, or maybe in a semi-crouched position. This dog would be extremely dangerous, as you may never know what he will do. Sudden moves or lunges at the dog could trigger a bite out of the dog's fear of being hurt. A good rule to remember is to assume all dogs can and will bite. A dog that will bite out of fear usually avoid head-on confrontations. They may show teeth and have their ears laid back to try and intimidate you, but never turn your back on this dog, as it may be his opportunity to attack. Confident dogs will approach head-on, tail up, and ears up. They may not appear to be angry. These animals are usually well trained, such as security and police dogs. If you are confronted, talk calmly, give firm commands, such as sit, stay, or get out of here. Remember, if the dog feels he is dominant, you're likely to be attacked. Try to never show fear. Take control. We realize that this is easier said than done, especially if you have a big, angry dog charging at you, but you have to be awful fast to outrun an angry dog. If attacked, use anything available to you for protection. Your spray contains an extract of cayenne pepper and is usually effective up to 10 feet. Use your bag, book, or clipboard for protection. If you must strike the dog to protect yourself, the most vulnerable parts are the nose, throat, and rib cage. Try tossing your book or hat to distract him to give you time to get away. Throw a coat over the dog's eyes if you have one. If you're knocked down, drop and roll into a ball, protecting your head and neck. If surrounded by a pack of dogs, stand still. Panicking and running will only bring the chasing instinct of the animal into arousal. Never wave your arms, as that's an invitation for attack. When entering a yard with a chained dog, look to see that the rope or chain appears strong enough to control the dog. Watch for a dog door or screen door that's ajar. Some aggressive dogs will jump through a screen door to get to you. If you must go to a door, slip a foot against the door to prevent the dog from slipping out. Never try to slip by a sleeping dog. Make sure the dog is aware of your presence, as you can frighten them if you disturb them in their sleep. Don't reach over a fence unless you're sure what's on the other side. Always assume a dog is in a yard. Check out the conditions that indicate a dog is somewhere around. Use your whistle. Be aware of small dogs, as they can be neurotic biters. The vast majority of dog bites occur in yards. Again, that's the dog's territory, and he's just trying to protect his turf. If you have to go into a yard containing an aggressive dog, ask the owner to restrain the dog and be sure the restraint is adequate. If no one is home, notify your supervisor so arrangements can be made to reread or estimate the bill or reschedule your delivery. Before entering, ask the customer if they have a dog. Certainly, these aren't your only prevention tools, but awareness and using caution will help prevent dog bites. We did not intend to instill a fear of dogs, but to instill confidence for a job that requires a professional, well-trained individual. Use whatever protection you have available to protect yourself, but just because a dog frightens you, don't use your spray or unnecessarily attack a dog. Owners of dogs will not tolerate anyone mistreating their pets and have been known to file animal abuse and other charges against people who mistreat their animal. If a dog attacks, that's one story. If the dog barks but doesn't attack, that too is a story. What needs to occur is for you to be aware of hazards, take appropriate precautions, protect yourself, and make professional judgments. If you have a problem dog on your route, bypass it and report it to your supervisor. Don't take chances. 90% of all dogs are well behaved and will not bite. The only problem is it's difficult to identify the 10% that will.